today on Cutlers Court.
Who pulled away from the relationship first?
So she signed a 12-month sublease with me, and she left after 8 months. She just left. She didn't give me any warning or anything.
You just came home and she was gone?
I did leave very abruptly. Honestly, I couldn't take the constant fighting.
She claimed that she was going to pay me half.
And you have receipts for this?
We'll find out today if she is ordered to pay. This is Cutlers Court. Shelby Hannon says her ex-girlfriend and former roommate is a liar and a mooch. She is suing her for over $9,300 for unpaid rent and expenses after her ex left like a thief in the night without ever paying back a dime. Natalie Davila says her ex-girlfriend knew when they got together that she was trying to get her acting career off the ground. She claims she intended on paying her share until her ex became overly controlling and hostile and started treating her like a child.
Your Honor, this is case 1107, Hannon versus Davila.
Thank you, sir. Good day, everyone. Miss Hannon, you are here seeking more than $9,000 in damages against your former girlfriend, Miss Davila. Tell me how we got here.
So Natalie and I met back in 2021. We had originally met on Hinge. And so she, at the time, had really big dreams of moving to New York to become an actor. And I was truly inspired by her story, and I was really inspired by her ambition. And I felt like we connected so well on such a deep level. I really thought Natalie was the one. So she ended up moving in with me in February. Everything was fine at first, it was normal. And then she sort of started displaying signs of just being a user. I sort of, over time, started to feel like a little manipulated in the beginning because I was always, not always, but I had, over a couple months, was asking for the payments that she had agreed to pay. She had agreed to pay half of rent, which was $1,500. So $750 was her agreement. And she was working part-time as a brand ambassador doing events, and I was working full-time as a sales manager, and then also on top of that doing brand ambassador work just to supplement the income. Over time, it really just became apparent that Natalie didn't really have any intentions of actually going after her goals or really ever paying me.
You moved to New York. Where did you move from?
I moved from Chicago.
Okay, all right, so big city to big city.
Yeah.
All right, and you moved to New York for the purpose of?
Trying to become an actor or an actress.
Okay. Any luck with that so far?
No.
Okay, so what was your understanding of your arrangement with Miss Hannon when you moved to New York?
So Shelby's right. I did agree to pay half the rent, but working part-time wasn't enough. So I was trying to look for a full-time job on top of going to auditions and just trying to balance both, but I was not having any luck whatsoever.
May I just say that she only had gone on 2 auditions and—
Well, hold on. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Ms. Davila, go ahead.
Eventually, she started to show her true colors, and I felt like she not only didn't believe in me, but just kind of thought I was very incompetent, and she made that very clear.
So how long after you all met did you move to New York and start living together?
About 6 months.
And there was a romantic relationship at that time, correct?
Yes.
Now, you, Miss Hannon, said that she only went on 2 auditions.
Yes,
Why do you know it was only 2 auditions?
because she told me that.
Okay.
And I would kind of ask her, how's it going? Or have you got any work coming up or anything like that? And she was always just very sort of defensive about it. And on top of that, I was patient for a while, but I started to realize also she wasn't really wanting to help with groceries or cooking or cleaning or any of that. I would just come home to a complete mess. It started to feel more than just finances. It was also just I honestly just started to feel emotionally manipulated, I guess. And Natalie's family helps her out a lot as well. So that was one thing that really struck me, because Natalie had been going on trips and she would come home with shopping bags. So I was very confused as to why she wasn't respecting that boundary that I had set.
What kind of trips?
Natalie had planned a trip to Italy, and she only told me last minute, like a week before. It was a solo trip by herself.
So on Monday, she's like, hey, next Monday, I'm gonna be in Italy.
Essentially, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Ms. Davila, what was your understanding? Did you all have an agreement with respect to the cleaning and
I
things
did
around the
clean.
apartment?
I did clean,
Well,
I
hold
did
on.
cook.
I'm not asking, did you clean? Did you all have an agreement as to what you
Yes.
would do? What was your agreement?
Basically, the agreement was I cannot contribute to rent right now, but I will contribute in other ways to making it like more of a home.
Okay.
Okay.
And what were those other ways? Were those specified?
I always clean, like that's like a daily thing for me. I clean, I love making meals, so I would make breakfast. She wasn't home for lunch, but I would make dinner. I was going to Trader Joe's weekly to like meal prep for the week. Like that's always been my contribution.
Miss Hannon said that you only went on 2 auditions. Is that true?
That's not true. I only got 2 callbacks, so I think she's confused with that, but I went on a lot of auditions.
Yeah, Ms. Davila, how do you explain the trips and the shopping and everything where you are having difficulty contributing to the household expenses?
Well, the trip was planned way before I had even met Shelby. I had bought it with like a group thing years ago, and then when COVID happened, it got canceled, so it had gotten pushed up, but I had already paid for it. But
you could see how that would land badly, right?
Yes.
So how do you explain coming in with shopping bags that didn't have groceries but seem to have personal effects?
I'm just not too great with my money, and I tend to buy impulsively, to be honest. But I also know, okay, I shouldn't have bought this. I'm gonna go return it.
So why do you think your romantic relationship went sour?
I think it's because of how controlling she is. I really felt like right away there was no trust between us. Even if I wanted to hang out with a friend, it was like, who is this? Why don't I know this person? And I just felt like she likes being in charge of everything, including every aspect of my life.
Coming up,
I didn't really want to be there, to be honest. I have been to Puerto Rico. If Shelby listened to me, she would know that I'm Puerto Rican, and I have been there many times.
She's claimed to have never been there.
So why'd you go?
I felt like we connected so well on such a deep level. Like I really thought Natalie was the one.
Who pulled away from the relationship first?
Natalie just left, so that was the thing. So she signed a 12-month sublease with me, and she left after 8 months. She just left. She didn't give me any warning or anything, and she just left me without paying for any of the 8 months or the rest of the 12.
Let me ask you this. You just came home and she was gone?
Yes.
Okay, is that what happened?
I did leave very abruptly. Honestly, like I couldn't take the constant fighting and feeling like I was kind of trapped in the relationship. So I definitely left not in the middle of the night, but in the middle of the day, yeah.
Where did you go?
Can I add something?
Hold on. Where did you go when you left?
Initially, I was staying with a friend that I really trust, and I had agreed with her, this is very, very temporary, and I'm gonna get a place.
And how long were you with that person?
I was with her for a month.
Okay, and then you got your own place?
Yes.
And paid rent there?
Paying rent there, yes, like in my name, everything.
How could you go from not affording rent to now you can afford rent by yourself in New York in your own place?
Well, it wasn't completely by myself. I did have roommates. I just want to state that because I didn't have like a 1-bedroom. I do have roommates. What had happened was like about 6 months into it when we kind of figured like this is kind of done with, I was getting more luck finding a lot of more like gigs. They were temporary, so they weren't very permanent, but I just wasn't spending any of my money. And I started doing online work as well. I was getting lucky and I wanted out and I figured, let me just get my own place and.
So let me get this, let me see if I understand. You, at some point, before you moved out from Miss Hannon, started getting a little more regular work.
Yes.
And instead of paying her as you agreed to, you stockpiled your money to get out.
Yes.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I want to talk about this claim that you have. You said you have some evidence that supports your claim for, what's the magic number? $9,357.77.
Yes, that is mostly the rent money. There are some other costs in there. Like we had taken a trip together to Puerto Rico, and that was another thing that I had paid for. And when we got there, it was just so weird because she had claimed to have lost her credit card. And at the time, I was like, okay. And so I just decided I was like, I'll front you, because this was earlier on in our relationship before I'd really started to understand what was kind of going on. I loved her, and I wanted to believe that, like, this wasn't going the way that it was. So
Like, I don't want to see what I'm seeing.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
And it was also my birthday. Like, this was a trip for my birthday. So I had ended up paying for everything, and she claimed that she was going to pay me half.
And you have receipts for this?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some of the expenses on there.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's $357.77. Miss Davila, did you lose your ability to pay when it came time to the Puerto Rico trip?
I did not lose my ability. I talked to Shelby about this, and originally it was just an idea. Let's go to Puerto Rico for her birthday. And I was like, okay, maybe, but she jumped the gun. She booked the tickets, she booked the hotel, and she waited until that window closed where you can get a refund. It's usually like 24 to 48 hours to tell me then. So I had told her, like, we didn't talk about this enough. I can't even pay for this right now. I didn't really want to be there, to be honest. I have been to Puerto Rico. If Shelby listened to me, she would know that I'm Puerto Rican, and I have been there many times.
She's claimed to have never been there because she told me that she is, and she's always wanted to go.
So why'd you go?
I went because everything was already booked, but I kind of knew going into this it was going to be a mess. It was something that I didn't really want to do because I couldn't afford it. If it was at a different time, 100% I would have gone and been excited.
How long?
She was
Hold on,
ecstatic,
hold on.
No.
You took that trip when?
March.
March of
End of March.
22.
22. When did you go to Italy?
I went to Italy in July of 2022.
Up next,
Both of them are not going to be happy.
I don't care.
You don't believe Miss Davila?
I believe something about her.
It was just so weird because she had claimed to have lost her credit card. And at the time, I was like, okay.
Let's talk about the rent. You are seeking $9,000 in rent. What evidence do you have that Miss Davila agreed to pay that?
Yes, I have my sublease agreement here.
And do you have your lease agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also have 3 Zelle transactions for $34 for half of the Wi-Fi. That's all she's paid me. All 3.
Okay, those are the leases?
The lease, the sublease, the lease, and then the Zelle transactions.
Okay. Now, does your lease allow for subleasing?
Yes. I
Okay.
had spoke with my landlords about it.
Well, I'm asking you something different. Does the lease allow you to sublet your apartment?
Yes.
All right, here's what we need to do. I need to look at this. So at this point, we're going to enter into our deliberations, and we'll let you know what our determination is. Tashi, would you escort our litigants out, please?
May I leave you with the text evidence as well?
Sure.
Yes.
And these are text messages from Miss Davila?
Between the two of us.
Between the two of you. Okay. All right, we will look at those as well. All right, love. You're looking at the lease,
We got the lease, we got the sublease, and
some emails,
Receipts.
texts, and receipts of payment. I am curious about whether or not she even had the authority in the lease to sublease it to Miss Davila.
there's a paragraph here, number 16, and it says, you cannot assign this lease or sublet the apartment, which again, for New York, does not surprise me.
Correct.
So, I mean, we've got a sublease agreement here between Miss Hannah and Miss Davila, but
She didn't have the authority to sublease the
it
apartment to her.
requires the consent of the landlord in writing, which we have not seen. She gave us everything she had.
And she specifically testified he told her that, or I'm presuming it's a he, the landlord told her verbally she could lease it, and that's not what the contract calls for. So that sublease means zero.
I'm looking at these other expenses for Puerto Rico, the tour, and the Florida hotel. And I'm looking at the text messages. I promise I'll pay for your birthday tour, my plane ticket, and all the months of rent. Ooh. Just Now, what I don't see is a date stamp. I don't know when this was sent.
She's got 3 different payments on 3 different days. So it'd be $307.77.
What are you taking out?
The Florida hotel, because she didn't say anything about the Florida hotel.
Minus. Ms. Davila has already paid.
But that was for the Wi-Fi. Although she doesn't have any proof that that's for the Wi-Fi, so let's credit her that.
So that's $102.
$205.77.
All right.
We good?
So you get to break the news to Ms. Hannon and Davila, because they're both of them not going to be happy.
I don't care.
You don't believe Ms. Davila?
I believe something about her.
All right, I think we are ready for our litigants.
So let's start with the big part first. The lease and the rental amounts that you're claiming in the amount of $9,000. Unfortunately, in the lease, in paragraph number 16, it specifically says that you're not allowed to sublet the premises. Your own testimony was that you were told by the landlord that you could do that, and that violates the lease. So the sublease that you had with Ms. Davila is void. So based on that, your request or claim for $9,000, we will have to file on behalf of the defendant. The other portion of your claim was recovery of the trips payments to Puerto Rico. Mr. Cutler's diligence revealed in the text messages that Ms. Davila said specifically, I promise I'll pay you for your birthday tour, my plane ticket, and then all the month's rent based on the sublease. We've already talked about the lease. So it was evidence that she had at least agreed to pay for the tour and pay for her ticket. And so on that portion of your claim, that would have been $307.77. You also provided to us some proofs of some cash payments, transfer payments. You said they were for Wi-Fi. There's nothing here that says that's Wi-Fi. So we credited the amount owed by $102, and so we are going to find in your favor $205.77. Ms. Davila, I do feel that you have been a bit of a manipulator when you stood here and said, yeah, I saved my money so I could get out. And this young lady was paying all the freight. And then you didn't pay her. And I hope that as you go forward and as you go about your life and your business, that you put that personality away. It is unattractive. It's not going to get you very far. The ruling of the court is in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $205.77. That is the order. Court is adjourned.
Nice that, you know, some of the Puerto Rico stuff was covered, but I do feel in general that I'm still owed thousands of dollars.
I don't feel good about this situation either. I didn't want things to end as badly as they did. I don't want her to feel like she's owed anything, but I also know that the way things ended were very, very sour on both ends.